I think it's really important that people consider the variation in different places.
The strongest leaders in the world have to be very strong followers. Sometimes you have to kind of take the back seat, sit and observe, and try and piece out, what kind of people each individual is, what kind of personality that person is.
Although they speak another language, they're from another part of the world. They do the same things we do. They eat just like us, they laugh like us, they cry like us, they care like us.
I would think the biggest thing that I would want people to know about the world is to just not make assumptions about groups of people.
You live in the same country all your life and you look out into the world, it's very easy to classify different regions. Say, this is Europe, this is what Asia is like, this is what the Middle East is like.
Everywhere we went, people just loved taking pictures with us. They would always, ask us questions. They would practice their English and stuff like that.
We were just amazed at how nice of people they are. When you walk down the streets in East Lansing, you might get like a nod or a little smile, but nobody really looks at you. But in Kenya, everybody's wonderful and nice.
I would say it taught me that there's no specific stereotype that you can put on someone. Just because you're from Italy doesn't mean you're going to be extremely nice and have great sense of taste in food. Everyone's going to be still an individual, just like you can't stereotype Americans.
Yes, deforestation is horrible and we want to stop people from cutting the rainforest, but there's a whole other story. It's people having to feed their families. So it was like really getting to see this other side of it and understanding their side of the story as well as ours and hopefully coming to some sort of common ground.
That access to information and the education that we have here is something that I think we all kind of take for granted.
I feel like a lot of us Americans, we shun away our foreigners because we're afraid to ask them. We're afraid to walk up and ask them a question or talk to them because, oh, they're different. I don't really like the way they look, or they're not speaking English, so I can't have a conversation with them. But you'd be surprised just walking up and smiling and asking them a question how much you can find out about somebody.
There's a commonality between people, and I think a lot of times we can get caught up on superficial things as race or ethnic background, but at the end of the day, we're the same.
You really get to put yourself in a place where you see people who get to experience life in a much richer fashion and a much more nuanced fashion than those standard images you get of different regions in the world.
I mean, the only way you get people to support a movement is to educate them, is for them to understand why it's important and why they should care and how it affects them.
It makes you think about your own culture and how different it is and to kind of appreciate it.
Another thing that I really learned was having a positive attitude, especially with people that you first meet, is such a gift. When you start a relationship with somebody, when you go at it with a positive attitude, it's really rewarding.
When you go there, you realize that a lot of the problem is just, individual farmers cutting down a little portion of forest because they need to feed their family. And the alternative for them is either cut down a couple trees or starvation.
I know now from my experiences in China that I want to do something on an international level.
I usually only acted when I was 100% sure that what I was doing was going to be right. And I learned, you don't always have to have that feeling of security. Step outside the box, run with something and see where it gets you, because even if you fail, that failure can in turn be a lesson.